People struggle to release versions of themselves so they can become someone new. We get stuck in a version of ourselves or a version of our life that we've outgrown. Otherwise, you're trying to navigate life while like carrying this heavy bag of rocks, the old versions of yourself. We have to release one identity before a new one has been fully formed. You're just following what's sparkly. Hi, I have a different kind of episode for you today. It's a workshop that I gave recently that got really wonderful feedback from participants, so I wanted to bring it to you. Over the past 18 months, I've become really obsessed with the tarot, really not as a tool to predict the future, but as a tool to help you strengthen your intuition and recalibrate when you're out of alignment. When we're navigating growth and change and new chapters, it's really important that we learn how to tune into our internal compass, because this map that we're always searching for during the fog of transition, it's actually inside of us if we know how to hear it and how to follow it. The themes of the cards in the tarot represent the most fundamental human wisdom on how to lead a fulfilling life based off thousands of years of civilization. All the themes in the tarot are the same themes that I talk about with my guests on Character that I use as a coach for the past 8 years. I wanted to start to bring my tarot work to you guys, to my audience, in a more formal way. So I designed this workshop called Be Your Own Guru, where I introduce you to 3 core themes from the tarot to help you close out 2025 and start 2026 from a soul-aligned place. The themes I introduce you to are some of the most fundamental to stay connected to yourself as you navigate growth and change. And the workshop also includes a guided meditation on these themes and then a group tarot pull to help you clarify your 2026 goals. So I had a lot of fun delivering this work. And if you're curious about the tarot or you want a playful way to do a start of year reset, then this workshop is really the perfect option. This is also the close of season 1 of Character. Next season, which will come relatively soon, I have some very cool New York City-based guests who have navigated big career changes and challenges. And I'm also going to be weaving in a tarot pull into every interview to guide our conversation, because every great story is a tarot reading. And you will see more about what I mean by that in the next season. So stay tuned, and here's the workshop. Enjoy. Hello, welcome everyone. Yay. Welcome to Be Your Own Guru. So I think I'm just going to kick off, and we have 90 minutes and I want to make the most of it and honor everyone who arrived on time. So yes, this is Be Your Own Guru, and there's kind of 3 themes that I'm going to be talking about today. And that is this idea of following your sparkle, releasing old identities, and being the artist of your life. Okay. And those will weave through as we're like reflecting on 2025. And so just a little bit about me before I dive into the bulk of the workshop. I help people navigate change, right? And for the past 6 years has really been focused on helping people create energizing careers they love and uniquely fulfilling lives. I'm increasingly calling this living a life with character. And this work really requires you to tune into what lights you up, really what your body is telling you in terms of where to direct your career, where to direct your life. It requires you to release old identities. Who we are and what we want is constantly evolving, and we get stuck and we can't create the change we want if we don't release. And really connecting to this understanding or this vision that we are each the artist of our life. So I'm going to dive into all of these themes. But for me, this is really my own story. I had to very much learn how to live this way. So for a long time, I tuned into other people's version of success. I forced myself to do an MBA and work in tech and try to be a management consultant because I thought those were the components of a successful career. And I kept going at that for many years, even though I was miserable, just like trying to like slog it out and work harder and prove to myself or prove to other people or prove to my family. Okay. I refused to leave this path of very much heavy resistance to do the thing that was already calling to me, which was to become a coach. And this was back in like 2015, before like being a coach was not a common thing at all. And that path felt very untraditional, very scary to me, like very different. And it really took getting fired to give myself the permission to do that thing that I really wanted to do, to really embrace my unique blend of strengths and interests and priorities that made coaching such an aligned fit for me. Okay. I had to give myself permission to be the artist of my career, the artist of my life, to design it not based on what I saw other people were doing, but just like, what do I want to do? How do I want to live my life? And that's when everything in my life started to shift. I started having much more fun in everything I was doing. I was making more money than I had before. And that like professional transformation gave way to so many personal transformations that changed how I was navigating so much of my personal life romantically and with friendships. Okay, as well as really helping me connect to and unleash my creativity and seeing myself more as a creative person. And that all started with the impetus of my career. Okay, so really building a life with character where you have an energizing career, a uniquely fulfilling life, it requires you to navigate a lot of change. Okay, and so these themes that we're talking about today are some of the core themes that help you navigate that change. Okay, and it's why I'm obsessed with tarot, is because tarot is really an amazing tool for navigating change. And, you know, as I said, I've been a coach since 2017. And the past 8 years, I've been really working with what helps people light up. You know, how do we release the old identities so they can step into this new version of themselves, so they can create this career, this life path that's uniquely fulfilling to them. And one of the reasons I'm obsessed with tarot is like all the themes that I've been working on and finessing over the past 8 years are all reflected in the symbolism in the tarot. The tarot 78 cards. I'm not going to go deep into the history of tarot and how the deck is structured. That's another workshop for another day. But there's so much. Each of the cards is based on like fundamental wisdom, human wisdom from thousands of years of civilization. Okay, on what it takes to chart an aligned and flowy path towards self-actualization. Okay, so I don't use tarot. I don't see tarot as a tool to predict the future. And certainly lots of people use it that way. And you can go there, but that's not how I find it the most rich and rewarding. Okay. I see it as a tool to navigate change. Okay. As a tether to ground you in the midst of uncertainty. Okay. It's a tool that helps you stay true to yourself by reinforcing the themes that drive fulfillment, that drive alignment. Okay, while strengthening your intuition in the process, which is something you need to trust if you're going to navigate change, if you're going to grow and evolve, if you're going to build a life with character. Okay, so when you pull a card from the tarot, you're going to be reminded of an essential theme that helps you stay true to yourself. And then you're going to activate your unconscious knowing, because your intuition, your unconscious knowing, it's going to be triggered by the symbolism in the card, by the theme of the card. Okay, so by pulling it, you're surfacing something that's buried deep beneath the chatter of your day-to-day brain, right? It's like the messages from society or your pro-con list or the responsible next step or all the things you tell yourself and talk yourself into and out of. You know, when you really tune in, when you really connect, when you do deep work in any modality that you choose, you know, there's always this deep knowing. And tarot to me is just an amazing tool to access that on a daily basis. So, you know, super helpful for me because I'm someone who was, you know, I'm an overthinker. Like I very much get stuck in my head. I was brought up that way to like really only rely on my thoughts, not my feelings, not my body, not my intuition. So for me, this has been such an amazing tool to start to release that way of navigating life and really tune into the signals of your body. Because so much of my work around the career fulfillment, really at the end of the day, what people walk away with is like, do I trust myself? You know, do I know what the compass feels like in my body, right? And that's what they're walking away from when I work with people. And so I'm always looking for tools. How do you strengthen that connection to your compass? And tarot is one of them. Okay, so when you work with tarot, you're reinforcing all this helpful wisdom while strengthening your connection to yourself. So tarot really helps you be your own guru, and that's why I called the workshop that. Okay, so that's just a little bit of context. And the plan for today is I want to next just take you through these 3 core tarot archetypes that create alignment. I mean, there's so much wisdom in the cards. It was hard to choose 3. I had much more. I had to pare it back to make everything work in our 90 minutes. But yeah, these are 3 of the core themes that I think will guide us today. Then we're going to do a group meditation on these 3 concepts, and then we'll do a tarot pull together. And I always meditate before I pull the tarot because it grounds me, right? We don't want to be stuck in our head with all of our thoughts. We want to be grounded. So we'll do the meditation, then we'll do the group tarot pull. I'll explain the cards. And that'll prompt you to access your own unconscious wisdom. And then I have some fun ideas that I'm exploring. I'm in the midst of my own change and transformation at the moment. And there's some ideas of how I could bring this work to life that I've been noodling around in my head. I'd love some feedback on that. And then we'll close, and that's just like very short question. And then we'll close with any questions you have. I can do individual polls for people to help highlight or deepen your understanding of what came out in the session. I don't think we'll have time. If we do have time, we're going to see how the session goes. I have a very fun little exercise to neutralize whatever energetic block is coming up when you think about your goals for 2026. So if we don't have time, I will do that in another session. Everyone here will get access to my Substack membership for the next month. So, and I'll be putting out member-only content with that. And also you'll be getting discounts to future workshops through that membership. So there's going to be other opportunities to do fun stuff together. Okay, let me take a sip of water. And feel free to use the chat as we go. What's coming up for you. If you have a question, I can answer it. Yeah. Okay, cool. Move myself out of the way. So as I've said before, I think tarot is an amazing tool to help keep you aligned and trusting yourself and help you navigate change and transition. And I think these 3 cards represent the core themes that I teach as a coach, right? So the Empress to me is this card about following your sparkle and really living life fully and having fun with life and being playful with life. The problem is that like most people set their goals, they design their careers, they design their lives from a place of should. Right? This is the logical option. This is the safe option. This is the reliable option. They treat their jobs like homework, right? Like we're so used to in school work being like homework that we then go into the professional world and it's the same. Like this is just something I have to get done. Or people suppress how they feel. They forget to have fun, right? And this creates a career. This creates a life that feels heavy. It feels hard. It feels misaligned. And that can happen for a couple of reasons. Like this idea that fun is for special occasions, right? Or fun is for the weekend, or fun is for my kids. Right. And we forget to be playful, to have fun with life, to choose fun in whatever we do, right? People don't prioritize the sparkle. And when you don't prioritize the sparkle in your life, following what lights you up in any area of your life, that area of life starts to feel gray. So I had a client actually, I thought would be a good example for this, who her whole life, she had this idea that like her career was going to be like working in a corporate office in a cubicle, like above Times Square, and that like work needed to be serious. And when she met me, she was just like so bored and depressed and misaligned. And we had to do a lot of work to be like, let's have fun. What would be fun for you to do? And now she launched a fitness franchise in Philly, like a dance fitness franchise. And she's so lit up. There's so much sparkle in her life. And it's really just reframing that life gets to be fun. Life doesn't have to be serious. Okay. And another reason this happens is because people aren't connected to or they don't value their feelings. Okay. So they push anything bad down, right? And in doing that, you miss out on so much important wisdom that comes with discomfort. Right? Discomfort is a sign that there's something to release, there's something to move on from, or it's a sign of not this way, right? And this is why people end up feeling lost or stuck, is because they don't know what a no feels like, because they suppress the bad. They push away the bad. They're not paying attention to the bad. They're covering the bad with dopamine from social media or, alcohol or television or, overworking, whatever your addiction is. We all have them. Okay. So they suppress the bad. And so they don't know what a no feels like. So they don't know what a yes feels like. Okay. And knowing what does a no feel like in my body? What does a yes feel like in my body is essential, because that is your compass through life. It's how you navigate change. It's how you get into alignment. You have to know what feels like a sparkle and what doesn't. Okay. So, and to do that, you have to be connected to your feelings. So this is why I love the Empress to symbolize this concept, because she lives passionately with life. She loves life and she's having fun with life. She's like in this rich garden of life. And importantly, the Empress doesn't ignore anything that she feels. She feels all of it, the light and the shade, the good and the bad. And when you do that, not this way or go this way, because you know what no feels like, you know what yes feels like. Your body is always telling you where alignment, where flow is, if you are tuning in and you're listening. Okay. So you want to know what feels sparkly, what sparks joy, and cultivate that and do more of that in your life. What relationships feed your soul? Nurture these, leave the rest. What places feel warm? Spend more time there. You want to follow the sparkle in everything that you do. Okay. Don't treat your life, your career like homework. Okay. That could be a tagline for my business. Follow the sparkle. Okay. The next big concept is death. And this is obviously like a very confronting card for people, but I encourage you to tune in and embrace this. I think, who you are and what you want constantly evolve in life. And the challenge is that change, people struggle with change. People struggle to release versions of themselves so they can become someone new. Or we struggle to let go of the beliefs and the behaviors of this previous version of ourselves that are keeping us stuck. We get stuck in a version of ourselves or a version of our life that we've outgrown. Okay, so death card is really about release. Okay, and it's an essential part of getting in alignment, of navigating growth, of building a life with character. Otherwise, you're trying to navigate life while like carrying this heavy bag of rocks, the old versions of yourself, all of your blockers. You're trying to move through life in a really heavy way. So you want to release so that you can get into flow. Okay. And this can be very uncomfortable because we have to release one identity before a new one has been fully formed. That's kind of where I am at the moment. I've like released one identity, I'm forming a new identity. And the way I'm navigating that is just to follow what actually feels sparkly and just one foot in front of the other. There is no path until you walk it. That's how you actually know that you are in alignment, because there's no path and you're just following what's sparkly and charting your own path. That requires you have to release the old path, the old version of identity, to start something new. Or another analogy I like is, you're on the shore and there's a boat in front of you and there's water and it's super foggy. And you have to step into the boat. You have to push away from the shore. You have to be in the fog for a while and you have to be rowing or paddling through that fog until you see the shore. You might even know, or you might see the shore in the distance, but you don't exactly know what's there, what it looks like, how long it's going to take to get there. Okay. That can be super uncomfortable for people, but it requires release. It requires pushing off from the shore, releasing an identity. It can also be uncomfortable because we have to do the work to release like the longstanding beliefs or behaviors that are keeping us in our old identity or keeping us in our comfort zone or keeping us playing small, however you want to frame it. Okay, but this is the energy of death. Okay, obviously it's uncomfortable, it's confronting, but it's an essential part of life. You can't have life without death. And you can see that on the macro scale, like our life or the solar system or the universe, everything is expanding and contracting. Or you can see it on a micro scale within your life, right? Who you are and what you want will evolve. Just like the universe is always expanding, each one of us is always expanding. And if we resist all the mini deaths that need to happen throughout our life, we're going to prevent our own evolution, our own expansion. We're resisting the change that needs to happen to get into alignment. Okay, and then we get stuck and burned out and despondent. So we have to allow this messy middle, and that is where death happens, and then the messy middle commences. Okay, so this is the second big theme that we'll be working on. And then lastly, the magician. I love this card. This is really about being the artist of your life. Like you can create whatever the fuck you want. What do you want to do? The magician has, for those of you that don't know tarot, there's 4 suits, cups, wands, swords, and pentacles. And the magician has all 4 of those objects, those suits on their table there. Okay, they're in this lush garden. One hand is to the heavens for like the inspiration. One hand is to the ground for creation. And they're doing that. There's an infinity sign above their head. So this is really about creation. You can create whatever you want, and you can do that as much as possible, as much as you'd like. Okay, so what gets people stuck is it can be tempting because we want to control, we want to have safety and security. It can be tempting to map our careers or our lives onto the formulas that we see around us. I call them success formulas. Okay, what are other people doing to create success and fulfillment? As I said, I did this. I was like, oh, I'll go do an MBA. I'll work in tech. I'll be a manager. What are other people doing, right? So I did that, right? And you can look at it also as like the corporate ladder. Right? The corporate ladder is, of course, reliable and safe, and there's nothing wrong with creating a career in that way. But if you're feeling stuck or lost or bored or like something's off, it's because the corporate ladder, it requires us to mold ourselves into pre-existing roles. Right? You always have to, there's something of yourself you're giving up in order to fit in and to have that safety of clarity. Okay. And so that's often where I meet the people I work with, so I know this super well, like, and I'll see it's my story, right? They've ticked all the boxes, they followed all the rules, right? They conformed and molded and shaped themselves into the identity that they thought they needed to be successful, but then it doesn't feel good because, you know, part of your soul isn't being honored, part of you isn't being expressed. Okay. And that's always less aligned than really following the sparkle, really following what lights you up. Okay. It takes a lot of energy to be someone you're not. Okay. To force an interest or a way of being that doesn't speak to you, doesn't suit you. You are unique. Your self-expression is unique. Your combination of strengths, interests, and priorities is unique. So the way you navigate life, the way you imagine what you want to do, that's going to be unique. That's why I say there is no path until you walk it, right? Because the path is yours, uniquely yours, creating the path as you walk it, right? And that's how you know you're in alignment with your authenticity or your unique expression, is because you're not following a path. Okay. So to get into flow, to create an energizing career, uniquely fulfilling life, you have to remind yourself that you are the artist. This is the energy of the magician. You can literally create whatever you want. You can start a YouTube channel. You can live between Costa Rica and New York. You can sail around the world. You can buy a house in Italy with your friends. You can make money off of your cross-stitching passion. I mean, you can do whatever you want. It's about throwing out the rule book, right? Designing your career and life from a place of possibility instead of fear and scarcity that causes you to like just adopt a success formula. These are the themes that are going to guide our meditation and guide the reflection. So now we're going to do a group meditation. And let me just pull up on these themes, basically, that'll just get us super grounded for the tarot pull. So yeah, just get comfortable. You can place your feet flat on this. Is going to be like 10 minutes. And then after that, you're going to have a little bit of writing on whatever came up for you. So I assume you all have something to write with if you want. All right. So give yourself some back support. When you're ready, you can gently close your eyes and feel your sits bones sink into your chair, and take a slow breath in through your nose and a longer breath out through your mouth. Drop your shoulders, relax your face. And again, breathing in and breathing out. There's nowhere you need to go for the next 12 minutes. A deep breath in and out. Now gently bring your attention to the area around your heart. And if this feels supportive, you can place a hand there at the center of your chest. Just notice the warmth. Notice the beat of your heart, movement of your chest up and down. Breathing in with ease, breathing out with softness. Now bring to mind a moment that fills you with love. Maybe it's someone you cherish, a pet who adores you, a place that brings you peace, or a memory that makes your heart smile. There's no need to search for this, just notice what's already available. And as that feeling comes online, feel your heart start to open and expand. Really tune into the love that this memory, this vision has for you. And imagine it blooming in your chest, like warmth spreading from the inside out. Feel it spread from your heart through your whole body. Now imagine radiating this feeling outward as if your heart is a sun, shining love and light to everyone in our collective virtual space. And you can expand your radiation of love and life so it fills up your entire home. And now can you expand it even further so it touches everyone in your neighborhood? Can it touch everyone in the city you're in? Feel your heart crack open And from this place of warmth and openness, allow your awareness to gently turn toward the past year. What felt sparkly? An experience that was special, a person who was really there for you, a way you showed up for yourself or your life. Just wait silently with your heart open to feel the answer. What felt sparkly? When you hear it, feel that warmth, the magic, the sparkle that the memories create. Revisit these moments in your mind, in your body. Let it expand your heart and spread throughout your body. And if you'd like, you can put your hand on your heart and say thank you. And now, with your heart vibrating with love and gratitude, ask your soul what wants to be released from this past year. A habit, a belief about yourself, about others, a way of engaging with the world. And don't think of the answer. Just wait silently with your heart open to hear the answer. What wants to be released? When you found the energy, see if you can locate it in your body. Where do you feel a sensation of the thing that wants to be released? And place one hand on your chest and one on your belly. And breathe into the sensation of the thing that wants to be released. Breathe in. And on the exhale, push the sensation to be as loud as possible. The loudness is part of the release. Push it to express itself. And get curious and ask this part of you, what is it afraid would happen if it didn't do what it does? And just wait for the answer without thinking. Now send all the love and gratitude that's in your body to the part of you that wants to be released. And gently tell this part, thank you for all you've done for me. I know you just want the best for me. I don't need you for what's to come. This is not a rejection, it's a completion. And you can exhale out whatever sensation is associated with this part of you that wants to be released. As you exhale, see and feel it leave your body as you thank it. Now notice the space that's been created. From this open, grounded place, gently turn your attention forward to the coming year. Remember, you are the magician. You are the artist of your life. Ask your soul, what is your deepest desire for me this coming year? And let the answer come to you however it comes. Let it feel emotional if it needs to. As you receive this intention, hold it loosely. Release the need to see the whole path. You don't have to know the how. Release the urgency. Trust that it'll happen at the right moment. And when you're ready, you can gently come back to your full awareness, grounding into the love, the gratitude, the release, and the vision that you've cultivated. And you can just take a minute or so to write down anything that came up for you, anything that you want to remember from this meditation. Definitely write down your intentions because we're going to work with that next. All right, so I'm just going to move my camera down a little bit so you can see the cards. I'm going to pull. Let's see if this works. Yeah, you can see my hands. I just want you to see my hands so you can see the live pull. Okay, so now that everyone is grounded, we're going to use the wisdom of the cards. So I want everyone to connect to one of the soul goals. Maybe only one came up for you. If multiple came up, just connect to the one that you want to work with. Okay. And I'm going to pull 3 cards and I'll explain each one and how to think about it and see what comes up for you. All right, I'm going to show you the card. I might also share a little image of the card in the chat if you need. And so remember, I'm not using this to predict the future. They're a tool to connect to your subconscious wisdom. So I'm going to explain the card and how you can interpret it. And whatever comes to you, whatever comes into your body, trust whatever pops up. Okay, we're just using this as a trigger to access something that's already within you. Okay, the answers are inside of you. And this is about learning how to trust that and connect to that. Okay, so the first card I'm going to pull is called the mirror card in this spread. And it is the current energy that is surrounding your soul goal for 2026. Okay, I'm just going to ground myself. So I pulled the 8 of Cups, but I pulled it reverse. Okay, so the 8 of Cups is about and I will send you like a little link with this too. But the 8 of Cups shows a person walking away from 8 cups. And the idea here is that things are working but they're like leaving for the different path. Like, so even though there's something good in front of them, they're saying, this isn't aligned with my soul, with what I want for my life. So I'm walking away from something that is working. Okay. When it's reversed, we're resisting that energy. So the energy, this is the mirror card, the energy around your soul goal, what this card is prompting you to think about is there something that you're resisting walking away from? Okay, something that's working. It's like, oh, it really looks good on paper, or all the signs are telling me to do this thing, but I'm resisting walking away. That's kind of the energy of this card. So just reflect on like what that brings up for you. And I'll look here to see if there's anything else I want to say. So kind of, refusal to leave a situation, determination to hang on when we know something, we've taken all we can from it. So you could also look at it as maybe the time hasn't come to leave, that we're still finding fulfillment and joy from it. So that's like a slightly different interpretation that sparks something else in you. See what happens. Maybe the time is not here yet to leave. So if the card is saying we're leaving this thing that's working and we're reversing it, you could also say maybe the time hasn't come to leave. So see what triggers in your body with your goal. And this is like, I love this. This is such a nice card for change. Right? Like, when is that moment to walk away? Are we paying attention to the signals? Are we following the sparkle? Even though something looks great on paper, it might not light you up, or maybe there's still things that you want to do. If you have questions as I'm doing this, feel free to put that in, on how I'm interpreting or what I'm saying. If you have questions, let me know. But then we'll also have a section time at the end where you can ask me for additional guidance or anything, questions. Yeah, I'm going to pull another card. So the next card is kind of the challenger card. So this is about what we just pulled was the mirror card, the current energy in the situation. Okay. The challenger card is like what's standing in our way of our soul goal. Okay. Potential blockers, things we need to overcome. So this is the 2 of Wands. Okay, so the 2 of Wands shows someone who is in their castle. They have a lot of success, but that success has walled them in some way. So they're kind of like looking out at the world. They're thinking about their next step. Okay, but I pulled it reversed. There's 2 reversals here. So are you being blocked from dreaming about your next step? Are you maybe not giving yourself a chance to dream? Are you it's kind of very similar energy to what I just, maybe not dreaming enough, not looking out at the next step, being very comfortable where you are. Yeah, being hesitant or insecure in some way. What comes up for you as I say that? When it's reversed, it can also be like, we've made the decision to release. So here the person is like contemplating, should I go? Should I stay? I'm like dreaming. I'm like can you see that? I'm in this castle. He has a globe in his hand. I'm looking out at the world. I'm contemplating it. The reverse can mean I've made the decision and I'm doing it. That could, in the position of challenge, what does that bring up for you? Everyone ready? I'm going to pull one more card, which is the helper card. So what will help you move forward? Tarot is just like it all, the themes always work. It always works. Okay. So this is the judgment card. It's like a pretty significant card in the tarot for those of you that know, but this is the penultimate card before the world card is like the completion card, like self-actualization card. So this is the card that comes right before self-actualization. And this is like you hear the call and you're answering it. So it's like you feel this, that what, so if we have this in the position of helper, what will help you move forward? It's like you're answering the call. This is like your soul calling something, like the energy is drawing you somewhere, whatever, you're getting a prompt to do something and you're answering that. That's the energy. So what does that bring up for you with your soul goal? And how will this help you with your goal? What call do you need to answer, or what has been calling you that needs you to pay attention to it? And so you can now look at all three of the cards together and kind of do a little summary for yourself. Like when you look at all of the, I'll try and hold them all up together. I really should have like a second camera, but I'm not yet that technologically advanced. So, okay. All right. So we have the mirror card. It's saying the current energy in the situation is, it's like when you have a good thing, but you decide, like, even though this is working in all directions, there's something here that's not right for me. It's not meant for me. Something else is calling me. I'm leaving something good. So when it's upside down, you're resisting that, or maybe you're saying, you know what, there's still stuff I need to do here before I leave. Still a few things left I need to do. Okay, so that's like the current energy. Then we have challenger. So this person he's like walled in with his success, looking out at what's next. So it'd be like resistance to that, resistance to thinking through what's next, resistance to leaving the comfort and security of what you've known. Or yeah, I think that's the cleanest way to explain it. If people have questions on that one, let me know. And then the helper, what will help me move forward is judgment, answering the call. What is the call? What are you hearing? What needs to be honored? I'll say actually two other things to say here with these cards. Cups is an emotions-led card. So like feelings, how you feel. Wands is more about creativity and action. So you could say this one, the current energy, this is like a kind of an emotional feeling. This one is like more about creation, actual things you're creating in life. This is like when we were walled in by the success of our business, of the life that we've created, thinking about what's next. This person is successful. They're thinking about what's next. This is like they're resisting that next phase. Okay, great. All right. Questions. Does anyone have any questions on what came up for you, or you would like, I can also pull an additional card for you and talk about it. That would be helpful. Additional guidance.
How do you incorporate tarot in your day-to-day?
So it's part of my morning routine, and I don't pull it every single day, but I pull it probably like 4 or 5 times a week. I meditate, I do yoga, then I meditate to get myself grounded. I'm usually clearing out any sort of emotional, let me take off the slides. I'm usually clearing out any sort of emotional blocks that are coming up for me, right? Every day, like I'm processing anxiety, I'm processing fear, like I'm clearing out my system through the meditation. And to me, that's super important to be grounded for the pull, because if I'm distracted with anxiety or something, it makes it harder to get the reading I want. And then I talk to it about whatever I'm working on, and I just pull a couple cards and I ask myself, like, what is the energy that's here right now? So I do it in a very loose structure and I just see what comes up for me intuitively from that. And very often for me, it just, reminds me like what I'm doing. And it gives me like the courage, do the uncomfortable thing, or, a reminder that I need to be a little bit more, whatever it is that I'm working on, like, oh, and you need to be a little bit more methodical. You need to not rush this. That's often something that I do. So, it's a personal thing. Just for me, it brings up like whatever my challenges are, because that's what's beneath all of the chatter in my brain. So how I use it.
Do you have certain decks to use, or do you
I use Rider-Waite. I have a bunch of different decks, but I'm really trying to learn it for myself so that I can, teach it. And I think this is the most universal. So I'm just starting with that. But it's super fun to see. And I have like fun decks. My friend just gave me a Philly deck that has like different different Philly icons on it. So Boys to Men is the world and stuff like that. So that's fun. But yeah, that's how I use it. Is that how you use it?
Yeah, I mine is the Osho Zen deck.
Nice.
So it's not like the traditional suits. It's more like different themes of Zen. So it like I pulled one yesterday, it was like harmony, or like
Yeah.
another one is like clinging to the past. So I think there's some like kind of lines a little bit up with like the traditional suits, but
Okay.
I pull it probably once a week for myself. And it's like, okay, and I just do one card. I'm not very sophisticated. It's just like, okay, give me something to like ground myself to for this week. So this week I got, oh God, I can't remember which I got. But anyway, it's like, it's just like kind of a theme for me to like root myself to, as you were saying in the beginning.
Amazing. Thank you for sharing. Hey, Alicia, did I see a hand? Was that a question? Okay. Hey.
Yeah, I had a question. I really liked the magician. Was it the magician card you
Yeah.
pulled at the
The
beginning?
magician. Yeah.
Yeah, and I love what you said about how there's no path until you walk on it.
Yeah.
And I was curious for you how that manifested in your
Oh
life.
my God.
And it's so obvious that you are on a path that you created, but what was like that transition process?
Oh my God, there's been so many moments of that. And I think this is like I get a lot of energy in helping people do that. And that actually that quote is from this poet, David White. And someone else told me it was Dante. Anyways, there is no path until you walk it. There's been a lot of moments of me of stepping off of the traditional path, but I think the first scary moment was when I decided to become a coach in 2017. I got fired. And I was like, okay, well, this like, and I had been very unhappy, like professionally for many years. I'd done an MBA and was working in tech. And so it like, because I had been so unhappy and because coaching felt so energizing, even though like no one was doing it at the time and everyone looked at me like, what are you doing? I was like, I'm going to do this anyways because it feels so good. And I felt so bad for so many years. So that was like the first time I really did that. I mean, but at the moment, I'm also doing it because I have this whole business around career fulfillment and I love that work and it's still part of what I'm doing. But I'm also this like new part of me that's like more spiritual is coming online. I like want to be writing more. I want to be doing in-person stuff. I don't exactly know how I want to make money and like what kind of business I want. I'm not copying someone else's business model, which is a little bit what I did in my first round of coaching. I just took someone else's business model and I was like, okay, I will take my career fulfillment work and map it onto that. So I had a little bit of a path more than this time. I really have no path. It's very uncomfortable, but I'm writing a lot about that process in my Substack. I don't know if you subscribe to that, but yeah. So yeah, but that like the tarot, I'm very interested in like what are the tethers that keep you grounded in the midst of that, it's really about following what lights me up. Like where is the sparkle? Who are the people? What are the activities? And I always come back to, and even though I don't know, the tarot doesn't really make, what am I doing? Like this doesn't make sense. But I felt so much sparkle in my body around it. I was like spending hours. I spend a couple hours a day on learning the tarot. So I have to trust this. This must be some sort of path, right? So that's why the Empress, the follow the sparkle energy is so important because that can give you at least the next step when you're carving your own path, right? And that's why I'm also obsessed with this idea of like spirituality. And I really think that spirituality is part of a healthy diet, but like choose your own adventure. What is your belief structure? What are your rituals that close the gap between the known and the unknown? I think having something like that can help you trust in the timing of your life, can help you trust in synchronicities, can help you trust that like carving your own path is going to be okay, because you need to release the comfort and security of control and of familiarity in order to get super aligned. And spirituality can be like an amazing tool to do that. So that's also something I'm bringing more into my work. And obviously one of the reasons I love tarot is because it is this kind of like spiritual text, but without any sort of like dogma or figurehead or any of like the problematic history baked into so many religions. It's like spirituality, choose your own adventure, spirituality light, so it's like, right, it's like a judgment, like the call is coming from above, but I mean no one is telling you the name of that or does that answer your question? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the reason I love the Empress card is because I think the energy of cultivating your interests, cultivating the things that are sparkly, right? All the time on the side, even if like your day to day is not energizing to you, cultivating the parts of you that do light you up is going to help you figure out what comes next, right? If you want to make a transition smooth, it's really helpful to be cultivating the parts of yourself. And also it helps you, the more you can fully express yourself outside of your day-to-day job, the more you express the full capacity of your character, the more you're going to understand what lights you up, what potential paths could be. So oftentimes when I meet people from a career perspective, it's like, they're working in their job and then they're like watching Netflix and hanging out with friends, right? And there, of course, again, there's nothing wrong with that. But then when the work stopped working, it's like you haven't cultivated any other part of yourself. So it's hard to know what comes next. So if you can create the space to like spark joy and have fun and do things that are interesting to you, that you can kind of like parallel track your identities in a way. Does that make sense? When like one identity is kind of coming to a close, the other identity has been coming online, and then it's like, oh, hello, now this is my main thing.
Yeah, that does. Yeah. Thank you.
Of course. Yeah. Hey, Erin.
Hi, Anne.
So good to see you.
You too. I feel like we have so much to catch up on, but
Totally.
not for right now. I feel like I'm at a major inflection point in life, career, all the things. So this is coming at a really great time. You must have known. But I'm a little mystified by the helper card. And, when you pulled the Eight of Cups, Two of Wands, I was like, okay, I like heard things coming through, and I was like, this makes perfect sense for my path and where I want to go and where I've been. And then when we got to the Judgment card, I immediately kind of felt like it was trying to figure out the how. And I'm wondering if you can demystify a little bit, like, how do you hear the call? What is the call? And I'm wondering about the interplay between the three cards, like, as I was sitting here listening to you in the last few minutes, like, does the helper card become clearer after you kind of work with the challenger card and remove those blockers? And is that why I'm feeling so like, what do I do with that helper card? There's nothing here right now.
Are you open to just sharing a little bit more on like, so you're from a career, you don't have to if you don't want to, but like from a career perspective, you said the question is career. Did I hear that right?
Career and life.
And life. Okay. Cool. I love that. And you are at an inflection point, but it's like you don't know, it's you're in that moment of like, I don't know what the call is.
Basically. So my like intention for like moving forward is to like really cultivate like my vitality and engaging with life and like creating and remembering moments, because I feel like I have this 5-year hangover from COVID where it was just like buckle down, be with safety and comfort and just kind of like get through versus living my life and engaging with the people and the things in it. And so what I'm releasing is like stagnation, this need to feel comfort and safety, numbing out, not rocking the boat, all of that, right? In order to like test, learn, change course, play. And the point that I'm at in my life is that starting in 2026, I have no job.
Okay.
And I'm also 4 months pregnant.
Okay. Congratulations.
So I'm like, I've been feeling this like really intense call to just kind of like forget the pathways to success, as you say, and like trying to force myself into security and safety with like a corporate full-time gig, because that's what I've always known and done in order to like feel safe. So
okay,
for
but you
me,
just
like,
said I've been feeling this really intense call. Right?
Yeah. Which is like Eight of Cups is like what I'm resisting walking away from is like the safety and the path that I've known and that I know will create money and safety and security and predictability because I love control.
Yeah.
And for Two of Wands, it's like I'm feeling resistance to leaving that sense of comfort.
Yeah.
And, I'm feeling now is not the right time to take a risk.
Yeah. But you said to me, I'm feeling this really intense call to just do my own thing and to have fun and to play, right? You literally use the words, I'm feeling this intense call.
Totally.
Yeah. So that is how I would interpret it. And I would say, like, don't worry about the call being like a thing. I think the call is to play, to like explore, to have fun in life. Like I had I don't know, did you read my Substack about my psychedelic experience?
Yeah. And I have a funny story to share with you after.
Okay. Well, anyways, so like that was like a big moment of transition for me.
Totally.
I should have mentioned this, Alicia, but like I broke up with this guy who wanted to marry me and I was like, what am I doing with my life? Anyways, and I had this call to just have fun in the psychedelic experience, just to have fun. And that's what I did for like a year. I just was like, I'm just going to have fun. I think that's like another great way to like, again, it's follow the sparkle, right? Have like transition. So don't worry, like through the fun, through the sparkle, the clarity will emerge. But like, I would just say the call is what you said. You're feeling this call to just like ditch it and do your own thing. And so just honor that and be like, okay, well, if you are the magician, if you are the artist, what would be like fun to do and explore? explore.
Yeah.
Does that answer
I
your
think what
question?
my brain wants is like, what is that?
Well,
Like,
exactly, because you're
how
used to
does
the
one
path.
have fun?
You're used to, how does one have fun? Okay, well,
How does one play? It's like, and I probably need to meditate on that more and stop trying to like force a formula in order to like be productive and like get there. But I think that's what I'm like, well, what is like what beyond just like have fun, which feels so amorphous? Like, what is that?
okay, well, so just you then make a list of like all the ways that you want to have fun.
I love a list.
Yeah. So
So
just make a list. Make a list of all the ways you have fun, put it up, and then like, make some sort of plan around it.
totally.
Okay. Is that clear now?
Yeah, thanks. Super clear.
Great. Yeah. Anyone else?
Not so much a question, but just to add to the discussion of tarot. First, thank you so much for creating this space because it's fun and I think it's generative too. Like I do feel energized and it's really cool to hear what other people are thinking about their year. And I don't know, I feel like it's kind of like a Rorschach test and everyone is seeing something a little different and you get new perspectives. For me, that first card, the Eight of Cups with the guy who's turning away and this like sort of mysterious cloak. I don't know. sense something like it's kind of like you can put your attention where you need to. And for myself, like I have a kind of job that is actually not in corporate, but it's a grind. So it's a nonprofit and it's social services, but the work expands outside of the hours. So what that to me was like, okay, I need to set some boundaries because where my passion is, where my interest is, or an important area of life that I want to cultivate is doing creative things for fun, not for profit, just for me and, like writing and drawing and things like that and music. And if I don't have some boundaries on my time, I never get to do the things I love. So, yeah, but it's good to be here. And thank you.
Yeah, well, thank you so much for sharing that, Trevor. And so good to see you. As I think creativity is like one of the it's such an important activity to create space for in your life. And I use creativity in the broadest sense of the word. Everyone is creative in their own way. I don't just mean, I mean, you said it in a very traditional sense, and that's cool, but creativity could be like building spreadsheets. Some people are like going into data, right? Or looking at investing for fun, whatever. Everyone's creativity is different. But cultivating space in your life to express your creativity that isn't expressed through work. And often with work, when you do express your creativity, is controlled or it's for other people or it's not as pure. And so I think the more you can find these spaces to express yourself, the more lit up you're going to feel. And who knows what's going to happen with that, of course, but it's about the full expression of your character. And the more you do that, the more you're honoring your soul, right? Because your soul can't be fully honored just through work, right? We're all so multifaceted and have all these different parts of ourselves. So the more you can honor that and create space to nurture that, the more your life's going to feel sparkly.
And yeah, I like that he's not fully leaving or, is he gone or not? Or is it something that you're leaving behind or not? Because for me, it's like you could have a balance where the attention is drawn somewhere else, and you can trust that those cups will fill themselves and, the
Yeah,
job will produce income, but your interest can be elsewhere. If that's how you live your life, if the job is not your main thing, if your passion is reserved for your free time, you need to reserve enough free time, and you could choose to look that way, and things will still keep rolling.
yeah, I think that's great. And I love this shows to me just like how beautiful tarot is as a structure because everyone's interpretation, just as you said, Trevor, like everyone's interpretation will be different and it will access within you what your unconscious already knows. And that's really what I'm trying to like land as there's many points made today, but like really like the wisdom and the guidance is within you. And it's just about creating the structures to tune in and to listen to that. Right. And it's very uncomfortable when you're used to like a path and other people telling you and relying on it. It's like an underutilized muscle, but that's how you carve your own unique path. That's how you get into alignment. It's like learning how to trust the signals inside you because they're all there. And, sometimes you need a little help and guidance and mentorship, but your unconscious knowing is there. And right, the way you interpreted that card is different than how Aaron interpreted that card, or all of us interpreted the card. And that is because each of us are unique, right? And so it's not, amazing. If anyone has anything else they'd like to share, I can stay on a little bit longer, but okay. Otherwise, wonderful. Oh, thank you for being here. And I look forward to seeing you in this community that I'm building. So take care and have a wonderful week. Bye. Thanks for tuning into Character. I hope these stories inspire you to trust yourself, bet on yourself, and do the work where needed. You are the artist of your life. Go create something unique and awesome. Don't forget to subscribe to the Character Substack. The link is in the show notes. Here you'll get photos of each guest in their creative space, alongside their New York City recommendations. I also share my analysis as a coach on why each guest is so aligned and thriving. And if you're enjoying the show, follow or leave a review. It helps other people like you find and get value from the podcast too. The music on this podcast was arranged by the New York-based artist, DJ, producer, and underground legend, Michael Magnan.